welcome back. I'm Statman Dave, and today we're going to be looking at how Lampard could set up Chelsea next season. Make sure, of course, to like the video, subscribe if you're new, and turn those notification bells on. Anyway, it's time to get this party started. Following Maurizio Sarri's departure to go and win the Champions League at Juventus, Chelsea are set to appoint club legend Lampard on a 3-year deal as their new manager. The former club captain scored a remarkable 211 goals in 648 appearances for Chelsea and is the Premier League's all-time top-scoring midfielder with 177 goals in the competition. He stepped into management with Derby County at the start of the 2018-19 Championship season, guiding them to a shock playoff final appearance where they lost 2-1 to Aston Villa. Lampard massively exceeded expectations in his debut managerial season, using a combination of experience, youth, the loan system, and a hybrid tactical scheme adopted from his playing days. Lampard is the real deal. He cites Jose Mourinho's Chelsea and Pep Guardiola's Barcelona as his inspiration for his tactical setup. Lampard looks set to link up with a number of former teammates in the major rebuild of Chelsea Football Club. It looks like he'll be joining Petr Cech, the new technical director, and Didier Drogba and Claude Makélélé as part of a new coaching setup, as well as a number of former players who are already employed by the club. It seems his coaching staff from Derby County will be joining him, with assistants Jody Morris and Chris Jones taking up residence in the dugout, while Steve Rams could join Chelsea's analytics team. But how could he set up Chelsea next season? At Derby, Lampard started the season in a 4-1-4-1. Until February, Derby focused on creating their chances with their front 5 players, through quick interplay and third-man runs. This allowed a lot of rotation of positions. The midfielders and the wingers would switch positions frequently. Whilst this is somewhat effective, there were 2 distinct units. The defensive unit rarely supported the attacks. From February onwards, though, Lampard made a tactical change which saw Derby become more of a cohesive side, working as a single unit. Earlier in the season, Derby would build up through their centre-backs and defensive midfielder, with their full-backs neither defending nor going forward, sort of sitting in no man's land, not contributing either attack or defence or even the build-up, whilst the front 5 would stay high up the pitch and wouldn't get involved in the build-up either. Lampard's tweaks saw the wingers and midfielders still rotate positions, but what was more interestingly, whoever was in central midfield would drop to help out the defensive midfielder in the build-up, whilst the full-backs would push higher up the pitch. Interestingly, Derby's shape would drastically change depending on which third of the pitch they have possession in. In their own defensive third, it looks like a 4-1-4-1, looking to stretch their opponents by moving their team further away from the goal. In the middle third, it would become an asymmetrical 2-4-1-3, with one of the central midfielders dropping up to help in the build-up as the full-backs pushed on. And as Derby progressed into the final third, it becomes a 2-2-3-3 as the full-backs became more advanced. This tactical change had a big impact on right-back Jayden Bogle, who after returning from suspension after a red card against Accrington Stanley in the FA Cup was in red-hot form, largely thanks to his more advanced position. In the 17 games after his suspension, the young right-back assisted 8 goals and scored 2, accounting for 91% of his direct involvements for that season. But it wasn't just the young right-back who excelled. Derby's performances improved as a whole. In those 17 games, Derby just conceded 17 goals, whilst they scored 29 goals, a rate of 1 conceded and 1.7 scored per game. Compare that to the 29 games before this point, and they actually conceded 37 goals and scored 41, a rate of 1.3 conceded per game and 1.4 scored per game. This tweak from Lampard not only saw his team score more goals but concede fewer. This bodes very well for his managerial career moving forward. So, at Chelsea, it's fair to assume he'll utilise the 4-1-4-1 system. The midfield and defence largely picks itself, with the back 5 largely remaining the same as under Sarri, except the introduction of Andreas Christensen. N'Golo Kante picks himself and would excel as Lampard's defensive midfielder, whilst you'd expect Ross Barkley and Mason Mount to play as the free 8s, at least until Ruben Loftus-Cheek returns from injury. But the departure of Eden Hazard and the limited forward options make this system difficult to implement. Christian Pulisic would slot in on the right, whilst Pedro and Willian would fight it out from the left. Of course, Callum Hudson-Odoi, unfortunately, is injured until at least October. He would easily play on that left-hand side, but if Lampard has to start the season without him, potentially needs to adapt his shape. You're looking at the likes of Pedro, who only scored 8 goals in the Premier League last season, only 2 in 2019, whilst Willian is yet to score in 2019 and has only picked up 3 assists in the Premier League in that period. On top of that, Lampard only played a small nimble striker at Derby, so you could see Pedro in this role, but you'd question his ability to perform at that level for 38 games. And the other options, Olivier Giroud, Michy Batshuayi, or Tammy Abrahams, all who are a little bit static strikers, more target men than those advanced forwards that Lampard likes to play, and arguably unproven in the Premier League. Whilst this system could work, it wouldn't get the best out of Chelsea's hazardless squad, and with a transfer ban, they can't really dip into the market to buy some white talent. So we could see Lampard switch to a formation, either a 3-4-2-1 or a 3-5-2. At Derby, Lampard showed that he's capable of switching his system. He changed to a 4-4-2 diamond to successfully stop Leeds United in the playoffs and played a back three against Millwall. And a back three makes sense for Chelsea's squad, which is still largely Antonio Conte's title winners. In terms of first-team players, Chelsea have 6 centre-backs, 7 central midfielders, 5 wing-backs, 2 traditional full-backs, 4 wingers and 3 strikers, all of which don't profile to a usual Lampard striker. Add to that Chelsea's transfer ban, which means they'll need to make the most out of their incredible youth teams who play either a 3-4-2-1 or a 3-5-2. A back three system also makes up for 2 of Derby's major deficiencies under Lampard. The first being, as Derby box teams in against the touchline, they stack up to that side of the pitch heavily, but if teams play through their press and then switch the ball out, as Derby shuttle across, there's often big holes left in between their defence, which could be exploited. If you had an extra centre-back, these holes would be much smaller, and this wouldn't be a problem. And the second was when Derby were building up. The defensive midfielder would often get caught in possession, either giving the ball away through a bad pass, or if they carry the ball out the back and then get tackled, which allowed their opponents to break onto their widely spaced out back four, which again had massive holes in it. Having an extra centre-back would again close those holes and wouldn't make this such a disastrous error. So, how could this look at Chelsea? The appointment of Lampard, and with him, Jody Morris, would see an emphasis on giving youth a chance at Chelsea, considering the average age of his Derby debutants was just 18 and a half years old. You've got a former Chelsea youth manager in Morris, and the last 3 Academy Player of the Years are all at Chelsea. In Fikayo Tomori, Mason Mount and Reece James, and I expect them to be given opportunities to showcase their talent. Kepa would be between the sticks, and I expect to see Luiz and Rudiger, once he's returned to fitness, to take 2 of the 3 centre-back spots, with Christensen filling in for Rudiger and then eventually phasing out David Luiz. The third centre-back could be filled by either Azpilicueta, who played there under Conte, or the returning Loonies, Kurt Zouma or Tomori. As Derby's Player of the Year, I think Lampard would give Tomori a chance to impress. The Canadian won 107 tackles and made 67 interceptions in the Championship last season, more than any other Derby centre-back or any Chelsea player. But also the major benefit of playing 3 at the back would allow Chelsea to return to wing-backs, giving Chelsea more options in the final third. The wing-backs would be expected to push up in the attacking phase and provide an option on the overlap in the final third. This movement would allow the central players to stay central and create chances through quick interplay, something that Lampard's Derby were excellent at. Fortunately, Chelsea have a plethora of natural wing-backs, and their transfer ban would mean they could afford to give these guys an opportunity to impress and evolve tactically. Marcos Alonso would return to his favoured position after a turgid season playing in a back 4. His 2 seasons under Conte, where he played left wing-back, saw him being directly involved in 18 Premier League goals, so it'd not be crazy to give him a chance to return to his best. Chelsea also have good competition at left wing-back, with youngsters Jay Da Silva and Juan Castillo looking very promising for both Bristol City and, of course, Chelsea's youth sides respectively. It could force Alonso out if he doesn't return to his best. Reece James would deputise at right wing-back. Could be a really interesting option. David Zapata hasn't ever staked a starting claim, and Cesar Azpilicueta is better suited at full-back or in an outside centre-back role, so Wigan's Player of the Year should be given a chance to impress. James would fit well into Lampard's fluid system, having played right-back, defensive midfield and centre-back for Wigan last season. James is equally adept at coming inside, as contributed on the overlap, would add a really interesting tactical element to Chelsea's right flank. If Lampard decided to play Pulisic higher up the pitch, Pulisic could drift wide as a central winger into those wide areas, combine, and then look to get crosses into the box, allowing James to drive inside and overload that central area. Of course, N'Golo Kante would provide that solidity in defensive midfield as a sole holder. Where Derby had deficiencies at defensive midfield with either Tom Huddleston or Bradley Johnson, Kante would be the perfect guy. Adept at covering across the pitch, but also driving out with the ball at his feet. Very good in the dribble. Kante has got a superb success rate when he's carrying the ball out from the back, something that Derby lacked last season that Kante can bring to Chelsea. Ross Barkley or Ruben Loftus-Cheek, once fully fit, would provide the goal threat, whilst Mason Mount would add a little bit of creativity. Mount is a player of real quality, a central midfielder in the mould of Iniesta. The 20-year-old is phenomenal on and off the ball. Derby pressed exceptionally well under Lampard, and the England youth international often led Derby's second line of pressure and finished the season in the top 10 of pressing regains per 90 for attacking midfielders and wingers. Not only a terrier in defence, he is a top-class operator when the ball's at his feet, either using his guile or the ball and off-the-ball movements to get in between the lines. The Chelsea youngster is destined to be a Premier League star. Mason Mount contributed to 4.4 shots to Derby's attack last season, 1.9 key passes and 2.5 shots per game. He also scored 9 goals in the Championship last season. Only Glick managed more from central midfield. The two strikers would be a classic creator-scorer combination, partnering a winger with a striker. The obvious picks would be to partner Pedro with Olivier Giroud, but as mentioned before, Pedro's goal scoring is waning and Giroud has only scored 5 goals in the Premier League for Chelsea. So another opportunity for Lampard to hand youth a chance. Tammy Abraham and Christian Pulisic in those two positions. In a season-long loan at Aston Villa, Abraham scored 26 Championship goals with a conversion rate of 22%, averaging 2.1 shots from within inside the box, more than any current Chelsea player averaged last season. Whilst January signing Pulisic was pushed out of the Dortmund team by Jadon Sancho, the England international is an exceptional talent, but in Pulisic's 9 Bundesliga starts, he chipped in with 4 goals and 4 assists, and is destined to shine. Pulisic could operate in a central winger position, drifting to either flank to open up a passing lane, or alternatively to overload an area of the pitch. And of course, when the main man hudson-odoi returns, we could see a tweak again in the formation. hudson-odoi is set to get Hazard's number 10 shirt and will become Chelsea's heartbeat when he gets back from that terrible injury. We could see a slight tweak in the system to a 3-4-2-1, with him operating as an advanced playmaker in the inside left position, as he did for Chelsea's youth teams. Before his injury, hudson-odoi was directly involved in 6 goals in just 6 Europa League starts. And on average, he averaged 3.3 dribbles per game in the competition. But a 2-striker setup would also offer opportunities for 19-year-old Charlie Brown, who was last season's UEFA Youth League top scorer, scoring 6 more goals than any other player in the competition. And it'd be crazy for Chelsea to let another striker with world-class potential waste their career on loan at Vitesse Arnhem. We could also see an introduction of a number of young, exciting midfielders that excelled in the Youth League last season, including Conor Gallagher, George McCracken, Billy Gilmore, and Luke McCormick, who resembles a young Frank Lampard. He scored 4 out of the 8 goals that Chelsea managed in the UEFA Youth League knockout rounds. This system would allow a lot of attacking fluidity, quick interplay that Lampard's desired, whilst having the extra centre-back to offer that defensive solidity. But anyway, guys, what do you think? Where do you think Chelsea will finish next season? I've been Statman Dave. Make sure, of course, to like that goddamn video, subscribe if you're new. See you later.